Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into a normal Tuesday night murder church here with Phil Spector. We're going to do two double back-to-back nights with Phil Spector going into this murder trial we've been going at for a long time. Last night was pretty interesting. We're going to just move forward just a little bit here. Thanks everyone for coming in. Appreciate it. Please give it the old like on the YouTube. Share it out on X or any other platforms you may be on. X is super important though. If you're on there, if you could give that a share, that really helps out, guys. I already see some folks coming through and doing the damn thing. Missy Mayhem, thank you so much for that share. But yeah, let's rock and roll, guys.
Let's rock.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in here. Thank you very much. What's going on? Thanks for showing up to a murder church here on the normal night, on a Tuesday. Checking everything, making sure everything sounds and looks good. I believe it does. Hell yes, hell yes. See, Botrix woke up, which I always like. I need to bring the chat over, though, so I can talk to you guys and pop it up on the screen. Always like to do that. We got to show off what the folks are thinking and saying out here. Back to back Phil Spector. Haven't done this maybe ever, but we used to do 2 nights of Phil Spector. That's how we've gotten this far. But let's do it again. Let's get in here, man. This is an interesting trial. Missy Mayhem, thank you so much for that share. I really appreciate that. Pammy coming through, of course. CH in here. Jerry in the house. Bassett Page coming through. Dixie. Hell yeah, and I will not forget the bells. I'll go ahead and hit those now. Bada bing, bada boom. There you go. There you go. Oasis Cat. Shelly going to be doing a little modding here. Phil in the house. Tower Toys. What's going on, brother? Yeah, everybody. Gamby's popping in. Hopefully you're not working too hard tonight, Gamby's, or maybe you're off. I know today, Laura, welcome in here also. Where's the pickles? We have missed you. BGOG. Full house. Love to see it. Yes, I did not make it to work today. Anybody that saw the picture, I'll actually pop it up here right now. Got a couple of things to go over before we dive in here, but man, we got hit hard today. We got a bunch of snow. They were calling for it, a bunch of ice and bullshit falling out of the sky, and it actually pummeled us a little bit here. I did not make it to work, and this is about an hour. Anybody that remembers the trial that we watched, the Natalie Cochran one from Beckley, West Virginia, this is that area. This is an hour from me. This was an accident today. Insane. It looks like one of the big trucks that carry the cars, like to the car lots, hit a fucking semi-truck, and one of those automobiles went through the side of the fucking, like this looks like a movie scene right here. Insane around these parts, and I, again, did not make it to, I didn't make it to work. I don't think a lot of people made it to work. Cassie didn't make it to work either. She got to actually work from home, but yeah, crazy. Hopefully everyone, if you're in any kind of weather like this, you are safe. Don't have to deal with anything like that, because holy shit. That's how I feel right now, Campies. Absolutely. Yeah, and then also, of course, I want to do a little bit of promoting on this side before we get too far out of the way. If you did not hear last night, on Thursday night, I have a very special show coming at you. We're going to be going into Ellen Greenberg. And Wednesday night, before that even happens, I hope you guys check out the Consult podcast, which is hosted by Julia Cowley. And she's going to be my very special guest on here. A retired FBI agent is going to be talking about, she's going to have multiple parts. I don't know how many parts. This one on Wednesday that she drops is going to be part 1. And the following night, Thursday night, right here on Publicly Buzzed, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to be having her on here to talk about this case even deeper. So that is going to be a can't miss. Also, folks, please come through and support, of course, right here. You can check out the Consult podcast. She does a lot of really cool stuff, and I'm actually going to drop her link to give her a follow on the old X machine right here as well. Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. And the podcast is fucking dope. I started listening to an episode where she's interviewing a dude that's basically talking about, he wrote a book about the serial killers that kill, like truck driving serial killers that are going across the fucking country, dude. And it is a wild episode. I'm still not even finished with that one. But yeah. I'm excited to have her on here and actually dive a little bit deeper into Ellen Greenberg on Thursday. But hell yeah, again, tonight we're going to be jumping in. The very first video here is a forensic dentist, Dr. Joseph Anselmo, I believe is the name here. And he's only up here for 10 minutes, and I that's a pretty quick turnaround in a Phil Spector trial, so we're going to be moving on immediately after that. But hell yeah, hell yeah. Look in here. Carrie's going to jump in here real quick. Like to see it. Gamby's at a baseball game tonight. Basketball game tonight. Baseball game would be insane. But hell yeah. And got the earbuds in, chilling out. Can't beat it. Buzz Nation comes the fuck through. That's what it's all about. Right here, Dixie. Oh my God. There are supervisors and managers at the transport of both semis and cars, lots having blood pressure issues over that wreck. Oh yeah, I can't imagine. Like, that's a crazy one. I bet that is a very expensive wreck. Very expensive wreck. Cheney going to come through here also. Hell yeah, everybody in here. Missy's going to do a little modding as well. So yeah, let's get in here. Again, if anybody did share that out, I really appreciate it. We, of course, have the regulars. We got a wheel rocking and rolling. We've already started rocking on that last night. Anybody that wants on the wheel, of course, we have something new in the house. We've got magnets, but we've also got these cool keychains. And there's only about 5 of these things left. So these are limited. But yeah, last night, Pokemon won, actually. Shelly got the win. So we're already 5 names onto a new wheel. Can we get another one? Of course, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, whether you become a member, which gets you a few extra perks. You want to be a member here in the Murder Church, you know you do, in the Buzz Nation. Or if you give out any kind of supers, that will get you on the wheel. Hell yes. And yes, I'm glad that everyone should be following Julia. But hell yeah, guys, let's jump in here. Let's see what the hell's going on. Gamby's just got that share out there. Really appreciate it. Phil got that share out there. Thank you guys so much. Again, anybody that could donate a share on the old X machine, that really does help out. Any extra eyes on that, always appreciate it. Dixie's going to come through the Venmo machine to start us out, though, with $5. Thanks for making time for us all to be together. No, thank you for coming in here, man. I love this. This rules. This is the Buzz Nation, baby. We don't mess around. What are we doing?
Hanging and banging.
All the time is what we're out here hanging and banging, booby.
Give me the loot. Give me the loot.
I'm telling you like it is, baby.
You know what I'm saying? What's up, Dixie? Let me get you on here. Dixie's one of the biggest supporters too, man. Dixie's always coming the fuck through. See if we can get Dixie one of these keychains. Love it. Fuck yeah. Boom. Best folks right here. Buzz Nation, absolutely best folks in the entire space. I will fight anybody that wants to come in and challenge that. Akasha coming through here. Hi, Akasha. All right, get your brewskis, get your probably nothings. I'm going to do a little number here, maybe. You know what we're talking about. A little something. I'm going to put it in the chat here. If you don't know, you do now. Motion to Scream coming through. Hell yeah, love to see it. All kinds of new names always coming through the Buzz Nation. They come through. They fluctuate. They bounce around. But the ones that come in here, man, I appreciate the fuck out of it. Thank you all so much. So let's get in here. I think I've got everything still pretty much set up from last night. I haven't even been in here since last night. But Dr. Joseph Anslamo, forensic dentist, is going to start us off. Make sure I've got the sound here. We only have 10 minutes with this gentleman, and we're going to move on.
Please spell your first and last name.
Thanks, everyone.
Joseph, Joseph, Anselmo,
G-O-G.
Anselmo.
Thank you. You may
Is
proceed.
it Dr. Anselmo?
Yes,
And what kind of a doctor are you, sir?
retired oral surgeon and retired forensic dentist.
Oh, Shelley, thank you for that share. Appreciate
Jared,
it.
what an oral surgeon is first, if you could explain what that field involves.
Well, it's basically treating...
Oasis Cat, thanks for that share. Appreciate it, dude. Those shares, I'm telling y'all, man. You know, I feel annoying even saying it all the time, but those truly do, man. They help out. You never know who might see one of those, and especially a Buzz Nation member that maybe didn't get that notification through YouTube, because we know YouTube is terrible. So thank you guys so much.
fractured
Very appreciated.
jaws, non-restorable teeth that need extraction. I'm sorry.
It's basically treating fractured jaws.
Fractured jaws, developmental deformities of the jaw, non-restorable teeth. I'm sure you've heard of impacted wisdom teeth, infections, treating pathology, and so forth.
And then you also mentioned something else, a forensic dentist. What is a forensic dentist?
Forensic dentist basically
headphones
collects and
backwards.
examines dental evidence as it relates to the law with regard to either civil or criminal cases.
And Dr. Anselmo, is it also known as the field of forensic odontology?
That's correct.
Okay, so the field that deals with forensic dentistry,
The only Dave That's the only kind of surgery I've ever had in my life was oral surgery. I had my wisdom teeth taken out when I was 18 years old.
in a relationship with the Los Angeles Coroner's Office?
I did. I've since retired. It was 2004.
2004?
Right, I had 22 years worth.
Okay, and why would the coroner's office want a forensic dentist or a forensic odontologist in their employ to work for cases? What would be an example?
Well, I think a good explanation would be just the size of the county of Los Angeles.
Sounds like a
There's
Delphi
a lot
reference,
of
right?
things that take place that
Odontologist.
require identification of remains. We've seen a lot of bite mark cases, so it's a very busy office that requires the help of dentists. Also, on mass disasters, we have to be available to help with the identifications.
Okay, so a coroner's office typically would have a forensic dentist, somebody like yourself, to help do the work that they're assigned to do as coroners, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so it might be dental identification or anything that has to do with the teeth, essentially. Is that true?
Correct.
Patrick's
Now,
not
to
going
be
to
a
come over to the
forensic
screen?
dentist,
What the hell?
I take it you have to get some basic education to be a dentist, and do you have that? And if so, what is it?
Well, I had my dental degree from Marquette University. Also did training in oral surgery at Temple University. And then I've taken a number of courses through the AFIP, it's the Armed Forces Institute of Pathology, throughout the years for forensic dentistry and related disciplines.
Okay, so you became a dentist first, and then you evolved into the field of forensic dentistry.
That's
Is that true?
correct.
Hold on. I just want to see. It totally dead. What the hell? It was literally just working. Hold on.
And
Patrick's, you son of a bitch.
when you study forensic dentistry, what do you need to know more than you learn in, let's say, dental school in that particular field?
Well, you have to learn, obviously, the
There it
relationship.
is. Had to
of
wake it
the
up, dude.
dental
You have to go and like refresh. Like it's the stupidest thing. I don't even understand it. There's a website called Botrix.live. You go on there, and I have a link that I plug into OBS. I have to go over there, refresh that page, then go into OBS, jostle it over here. I actually go down and refresh the catch on here, and woke her up
to
after
the
it was already
law.
working.
So you have
She
to
just
get
passed
acquainted
out. She's been
with,
drinking.
doing what I'm doing here today, testifying on a court, and
Lord.
also you have to, work with.
Shit, Akasha gonna come through here, and I don't even need your note, Akasha, because I already fucking know. $5 coming through the Cash App for, and she says, "Of course, I don't need this note. This is Akasha. Goddammit, give me a keychain, boom, and I'm gonna get you that keychain.
with,
Let's see if we can get
your
it for you. Thank you,
colleagues in the
Akasha.
other disciplines with regard to, say, anthropology, toxicology, and so
I
forth.
know now,
So
baby.
We attend the American Academy
I'm
of
probably gonna
Forensic
fuck it up
Science
soon.
meetings so we can get an idea of what our colleagues do in the other disciplines so that we can interact with them.
Okay, so you mentioned the American Academy of Forensic Sciences. Do they have a dental section or odontology section?
Yes, they do. It's forensic odontology.
And so you would go to
Oh,
those
dude,
meetings
Laura.
to learn about this field and continue and keep up with your knowledge in this field?
That's correct. I'm a retired fellow of the Academy.
Okay, what's a fellow of the Academy, if you could explain
Well,
that?
someone who has gone advanced from membership status, basically. And one of the requisites is presenting a paper at 2 different meetings on some scientific topic. And then you have to be recommended by your peers in that particular section to be elected as a fellow. So
Halfway
that's,
to a will,
in a nutshell,
or maybe
that's
even
what's-
one
what's
over half. I
required.
think we're
Okay,
at
so
7.
you're not just a member, you've actually advanced in membership?
Right, that's correct.
Okay, and so have you had occasion, Dr. Anselmo, to come to court to testify in cases, both criminal and civil, about odontology issues or dental issues?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you qualified as an expert before today, is
Yes.
that correct?
That's correct.
It's just our tradition now.
Basically,
I did dox you multiple times.
In the coroner's office, you get assigned or
Oh, God in
consulted
heaven.
by
The death stares on this dentist right now. I caught him in mid-blink, but he was fucking in it, dude. Good Lord. Full Phil Spector ghoul stare.
whoever is doing the autopsy, is that correct?
That's correct.
And I want to now direct your attention to this particular case, Dr. Anselmo. Were you asked by a Dr. Lois Pena to do some consulting with reference to the death of Lana Clarkson?
Yes, I was.
And what were you asked to do?
I was asked to examine basically her dentition, her teeth, the oral cavity, and also dental x-rays that were taken as well.
Okay, you were asked to consult regarding dental issues involved in this case, involving the death of Lana Clarkson, correct?
That's correct.
And in connection with your assignment, you had to seek outside dental records on behalf of Mr. Clarkson. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Tell the jury essentially what you did to accomplish that task.
We found that the dentist who worked on Ms. Clarkson was named Dr. Dorfman, and he was very receptive. I called him to get some information with regard to the treatment he provided, and so he was gracious enough to send us the dental charts as well as x-rays. And I believe it was a Polaroid photo and a dental
I should have
cap.
fucking waited then. I thought it was all completely out. Son of a... I hate that weekly shit. That's what they've done. They got us used to dropping every fucking thing back when, Netflix or whatever the other station. Now all of these fucking companies have all behind the scenes somehow come into an agreement to drop these shows weekly like the old days of television. Fuck that. We should all be in the streets fighting this shit. Bullshit.
Of Ms. Clarkson's teeth. And I also had a brief conversation on the phone with him to confirm the content of his records. And so that was the extent of my going outside to seek additional dental help.
Okay. These are known as pre-mortem dental records, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and you would do something like if there was a mass disaster and you were looking at dental records to identify somebody, you would do essentially the same thing, correct?
Essentially, that's correct.
Okay,
Yes.
then you would look at the dental evidence as it existed and compare one to the other, essentially. Is that true?
That's correct. We would have postmortem evidence compared to antemortem
Antemortem.
in a mass disaster. Yes.
Now, this particular consultation with reference to Lana Clarkson, there was really no question as to identity. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, there was a different question that was being asked of you. Is that true?
That's correct.
And the question that was being asked of you was, could the teeth have been broken inward as opposed to outward? And essentially, you were asked to explain how that might have occurred, correct?
Well, essentially, I was called upon to just identify those teeth as belonging to her. But as far as the projection of where those teeth were going, I didn't get into that particular aspect.
Would that be something that's outside of the realm of your qualifications to explain how the teeth were blown out?
Bonnie. We got Oasis Cat. Would you declare me a dental expert? 10 extractions, 6 wisdom teeth. How the hell do you get 6? 4, I don't even know what that is, bicuspids, 3 jaw surgeries, braces as an adult twice, crowns, TMJ, mostly thanks to an auto. Oh my God, that sounds horrific, Oasis Cat. Holy shit. And anybody that doesn't know, dentist or someone, I'm scared to death of dentists. Recently just went to a dentist and I've got to get a little bit of work too, but nothing like that. Like mine's actually was pretty good news. Holy shit though, man. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Oasis Cat is a dental expert in my opinion.
If you're referencing that to, in this case, something ballistic, I would say that would be a little out of my expertise.
Okay, that'd be something for somebody that would be an expert in ballistics and the explosions that occur as far as ballistics, correct?
Correct.
You were asked to just verify that the teeth that were located wherever they were came from Miss.
This is a defense witness right here, Cheney. Yeah, the defense are bringing up their witnesses currently.
Clarkson, and that they weren't other
Yeah,
tooth, that they one were
the
tooth
proprosecution,
material, that
I'm not
they
sure if
actually
they'll
came
cross
from
this
her
guy
mouth.
or
That's
not.
correct.
Okay, and so you did that along with another forensic odontologist, and then you essentially authored a report regarding
Might be some
that,
other
correct?
stuff hiding in here.
And when this request was made of you, it was on or about February 5th of 2003, is that correct?
That's correct.
And did you look at x-rays for any reason to kind of begin your evaluation?
Yeah, I've got to get to
Yes, I did.
And what was your
2
reason for doing that,
fillings.
Dr. Anselmo?
Well, basically, I just wanted to rule out any trauma
scared
fractures
of
to
that,
the
so.
roots of any of these teeth, which there was not.
Okay.
Essentially, all the trauma was isolated to the crowns of 3 specific teeth.
Okay, so you
So,
wanted to know.
who has seen the movie The Dentist? That's one that we could watch on Feral Friday sometime. That is the reason that I am horrified of dentists, is the movie The Dentist. If anyone has seen that one, probably even a trailer would fuck you up. Seriously, though, it's horrific. It fucked me up very young. when I went to this dentist, it was like 2 weeks ago, and he knew about the dentist. And then when I'm leaving, he's like, next time you come in, we can play the theme music from them. I'm like, oh my God, in heaven. Now, he was actually pretty cool. He was chill, but.
No, because this sometimes in death investigations, you want to know whether there's damage to a teeth or more than one tooth,
Right.
to see whether or not that might relate to the cause or manner of death. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so one question that you were asked was, are there broken teeth that, let's say, somebody hits somebody with an object, and you might want to look at that to see, well, is a tooth broken, fractured, or the roots broken, or anything like that that might suggest that somebody received some type of blunt force trauma?
That's correct.
Okay, and your answer was in the negative, is that correct?
In this instance, that's correct.
Right, there was no evidence of blunt force trauma to the teeth other than the teeth being blown out, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
There was,
So, I mean-
might add, there was no additional soft tissue damage as well in and around the lips and so forth.
So, I mean, essentially, it doesn't sound like, the gun was shoved into the mouth and, like, forcibly enough to where, like, it a broken teeth or, she didn't know it was coming, maybe. So that's interesting. Again, what we already kind of know about Phil Spector in these situations, he's bringing out the gun as intimidation. This is just me playing with this in my head, like anybody in the chat is welcome to do, but if you're going into the direction of Phil has the gun out, he doesn't want her to leave, she's probably trying to leave, he's like already threatening her. Does he then, start to put the gun into the mouth, right? Like, and she's just scared to death, opening her mouth up willingly as this is happening in shock.
Which indicates sort of a nice...
Holy shit, hold on. Forrest Nelson gifting out one of those bad boys. Forrest, thank you so much. Holy shit. Let me give you a little love real quick. Hold up.
Give me the loot. Give me the loot.
And then let's welcome any new folks in here with some beers in the chat.
Welcome to the party, pal.
And Nikki Zibs, get the hell in here. Nice. And I'd probably butcher the fuck out of that if that's a real last name. Holy shit, Nikki. Welcome in here. Thank you so much. And get them beers in the chat. Get them hell yeahs in the chat. Hell yeah. Love that. Nice.
Slated
New
traumatic
folks.
injury to
Go check
those
out the
teeth.
video
Okay,
section,
so
Nikki.
Before you go on, how long are you going to be with this witness? I'm trying to judge here. More than a couple minutes?
Yes,
All right.
I'm afraid so, I'm sorry.
All right. I know there's something you want to do outside
yeah.
the presence
Let
of
me
the jury.
get your name
so
on
the
here,
jurors,
Forrest.
keep in mind the admonition. As you know, we are not in session tomorrow. Mr. Rosen's going to be out of town. We will resume on Monday at 9:30.
So we're not done with this, Doctor.
All right?
Okay.
Monday at
It was
9:30.
just a
Thank
short
you. Have a
moment
pleasant
there.
weekend.
Thank you, Forrest. Appreciate that. I think we're like 4-way or something here. Okay, so yeah, okay, we got a part 2
Wanted
here.
to,
23 minutes,
be-
so still not a long time, but this is 2 days later. They just said they wouldn't have court the next day. So get back with this dentist. Let's keep rolling.
Again, sort of where we left off last week, and if I remember correctly, you were talking about how Ms. Clarkson, in
Best
her
folks in the Buzz
evaluation
Nation.
of
I'll
her
fight
teeth
anybody.
and the damage done to
I'll
her
fight
teeth,
'em
you
in
were
the
talking
street.
about the fact that there was no damage to the roots or anything such as that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you were aware of the fact that the teeth were actually blown out of her mouth, and some ended up on a stairway, some ended up on in a foyer area.
Oh shit, we're not done yet. Hold on. Amanda coming through here with a $10 Venmo. Wow. And this is the courtesy that comes through the Buzz Nation right now. Amanda came through and you know what she said? Gambies needs to be on the wheel. Fuck yeah. You know what? Let's get you on here, Gambies. Fuck. Amazing. That's what I'm talking about. Getting you on here right now. Gambies is also fucking dope as shit, man. Gambies has been a G around these parts for quite some time, and love to see her in the chat. Always support. Thank you so
Near
much.
a wall of a stairway, is that correct?
That's correct.
Get a little
And
closer.
basically, there were
A little
three,
closer to a wheel spin.
items of evidence that
little bit
were
closer,
away from
baby.
her body.
A
There
little
was
bit
an
closer,
item number
baby.
5, is
a
that
little
true?
bit closer.
That's correct.
And an item number 10 and an item number 11 that were on the stairway, is that correct?
That's correct.
And
Oh,
then
shit.
there was a particle or something.
You know,
that
I was thinking that as I read it, but then I also wasn't sure. I just didn't want to be like, oh, thank you, Gambies. Appreciate that.
on her lap that was looked at too also, is that correct?
That's
And even seeing your picture, I
Did
was
you
like,
look at
is
the
this
particle on her
Gambies?
lap and determine that it was consistent with
I just don't like to say the
human
last
tooth
name and
material?
then
I've
gotten in trouble.
They were referring to on her clothing was consistent with prosthetic piece of material. It was probably porcelain.
Okay, and that was something, porcelain, which would be artificial tooth material, correct?
Correct.
And when you looked at the items, or at least the items that you had available to look at, the crown material or the porcelain material, did they appear to be from her 2 front teeth?
That's correct.
Okay, and if you could explain to the jury what a full crown is, in other words, how does a person that installs those on a person's teeth, how do they do that? And if you could, talk about just in general, I don't want a long, detailed explanation, but a quick one.
Yeah, people that have lost a lot of tooth structure from decay, trauma, usually end up with what's called a full crown. And what the dentist has to do is shave down part of the natural tooth to prepare the crown for that. And in this case, Ms. Clarkson had 2 of those called porcelain crowns, porcelain jacket crowns on her upper central incisors.
Okay, and basically, the way that the dentist does that is he grinds down the teeth into like a post, and then he fits the crown over that post and cements it in, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and so...
Mr. Plord, you seem to know a lot about dental work,
sir. If the crown
sir.
gets removed, you can see that post, which is much shorter than a natural tooth, correct?
That's correct.
And when you went, did you look at Miss Clarkson's mouth after the damage that occurred to it occurred?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and could you see on her 2 front teeth the posts that were where the crowns previously had been cemented into?
Yes, I could.
And was one of them, did one of them have a little bit of a defect to it?
Yes.
Okay, and you learned later that the weapon, the gun, the .38 caliber Colt Cobra had...
Like, as I was, like, reading that one, I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is Gamby's, but it was the way that was, like, said that, like, you wanted Gamby's on there. I was like, well, maybe it's not. I don't fucking know.
Real tooth material in the sight, the back of the sight of that weapon. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And was that consistent with that weapon
Gamby's
hitting
rules.
that post where the crown had previously
Where we
been?
at on here?
I would say that's
Been doing good
consistent
today.
with hitting natural tooth structure.
Okay,
Yes.
and the only natural tooth structure that
9
you saw
already.
that
We're
was
3
removed
away.
from her
Fuck
teeth
yeah.
was this portion of that post
Brooklyn
from one of her
house.
2 front teeth, correct?
Correct.
And dentists, they, in order to identify and keep track of teeth, they actually number the human dentition.
Got the perfect number go, ready to go.
That's correct.
And so the
Got
2
me
front
sweating a
teeth
little
are
bit
what
in here.
numbered teeth?
This room is
those are
like
teeth number
actual hell
8
for some reason,
and
even in the winter.
Okay, and they start the top over to the left, and they go all the way around.
Actually, it's the patient's upper right. if
Upper
I could
right.
Point to myself. Here.
And it goes to 1, 2, 3, and then it
Goes to 16, upper left. Drops down to 17,
Pokemon, Shelly picked up the big victory last night.
lower left. 32, lower right.
Okay, so just to be sure we're talking about the same general area, tooth number 8, 9, and 10 were the only teeth that were affected as to Miss Clarkson, correct?
That's correct.
And 8 and 9 were the lateral, or the 2 front teeth.
Central incisors.
Okay, and that's what you call them. Then there's a lateral incisor, correct?
That's right.
And that would be tooth number
10.
Number 10. That had a veneer on it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And a veneer is different than a crown. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and explain to the jury what a veneer is.
Well, sometimes either for aesthetic reasons or just because part of a natural tooth has been broken off, the dentist may decide instead of doing a full crown, he'll just do just the facial side, and that's what a veneer is in this case.
Ooh,
Just-
Bonnie Bailey said, let me help you out there with a $2 holla.
This is gun country.
It's motherfucking gun country. We don't mess around, you know it.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe you. Well, you should believe me.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Just hitting random ones down.
You gotta fight for your right.
To Bonnie Bailey! Getting that motherfucker in here. Thank you, Bonnie. I appreciate that. Bada bang, bada boom. 2 to go.
The lip side, basically, of the tooth was prepared for the veneer.
Okay, that's called, is that labial?
The label is correct.
Okay, that's what the general term is. It's the lip
Lip
side.
side.
Okay, and so part of that veneer was broken off and actually was found somewhere at the scene, correct?
Honestly, I don't know if it was found or not.
Okay. In any event,
We've heard a lot about the teeth. You're fucking
Be
God.
marked next in order. It's a rather graphic
The mini
exhibit, but
trials
the people
out in
have
this
already
bitch.
marked it as one of their photographs in 42, but it's one of 3 photographs there, but I'm going to mark it defense next in order, if that's okay.
That'd be not
God, in
C,
New,
C to the
New
ninth.
York. Who knows?
C9.
C9. I'm asking you to take a look at this.
Accusations in the
exhibit.
chat from Phil. Tio Toys coming through. Pokemon has the wheel rigged. Oh my God.
Scan 10144. Okay, and this would be tooth number 8, correct? The
That's
first
correct.
one that's damaged. Number 9 right next door, correct?
Oh, shit. Laura
And then
wants that
number 10,
thing.
the one that has half the veneer missing,
get it, Laura.
is right next to it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And number 8, this first one that has damage to it, is the one that has some natural tooth of this post that's missing. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and
One away.
Number 9 appears, the post appears to be relatively intact.
That's correct. It's not exposed. However, there's still, if I recall, can I use this too?
Sure, use your own pointer.
If I get it to work. Here, let's see.
There's another one right on the...
There, basically, there's a little fracture in that area as well. So both teeth had some natural missing tooth structure.
Okay.
Missing.
And this particular tooth, number 10, the tooth itself was intact. There was no problem with that, correct?
That's correct.
It was just the veneer
Just
that
the
was...
veneer piece was missing.
And as far as the roots of these 2 teeth that had the crowns on them, the roots were not broken or anything such as that, correct?
No, they were not.
And in fact, none of the teeth had any roots that were cracked or broken as a result of trauma or anything such as that. Is that
That's
true?
correct.
Same with the veneer tooth here, number 10.
Correct.
You're starting to cross over each other. If you could pause, slow down a little bit, thank you.
So none of the teeth
Court reporter
had
would
any
appreciate that.
internal damage to them. Is that correct,
Guarantee.
And the outside of the teeth, you know, where you may chip a tooth or something like that, except for these 3 teeth, there were no chips, cracks, or fractures to the teeth itself that are exposed. Is that true?
That I saw.
Okay. And I take it, you've looked at teeth for how many years at the
About
coroner?
40.
And is it typical for you to come in at the request of a pathologist and do dental examinations to answer these types of questions?
Yes.
Now, the up here at the top where these posts are, it kind of looks like irregular edges. That's where the crowns actually fit up onto the post, correct?
Onto basically the shoulder, which would be the base of the preparation.
Okay, and basically when a person goes to the dentist and they grind the teeth down, they grind it down such as this, and then they do a mold, and then they make a crown.
That's correct.
Okay. And this metallic looking stuff, that's a post that's put in by the dentist to help restore the teeth, correct?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Now, the next photograph, 5K,
Is this one you want marked?
been marked before, it's 5K.
Okay, thank you.
This is the back of the sight on the gun, the .38 caliber, and is it your understanding, Dr. Anselmo, that Dr. Harold looked at this and identified it as human tooth material, correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, and again, that would be consistent with tooth number 8 coming in contact with that after the crown was blown out or removed?
Or 8 or 9.
Or 9, okay. But it would have to have been after the crown was somehow off the tooth, is that true?
It would seem that way.
Because if the crown were on the tooth, then
Right.
this would have been artificial material, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now we're going to have, we're going to just go through some of the pictures of the materials that we have, and then we're going to
Bet
just
not.
wrap up here, Dr. Anselmo, and I appreciate your patience here. If we could have Mark next in order, and this is Exhibit T5A.
That would be non-upple D.
Non-upple
D.
D. D as
words
in
I've
dog.
never heard
D as in-
for 1,000, Alex.
Do you recognize this particular photograph, Dr. Anselmo?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and would this be item number 5 as it was recovered by the Sheriff's Department that you looked at to make a determination as to whether or not this was part of the artificial tooth material that Ms. Clarkson lost during this incident?
That's correct.
Okay, and the next one would be next in order, which would be,
Non-upper E.
thank you. And T10A. This is a vial that at one point contained some tooth material, but there was something that Dr. Pena talked about that was inadvertently misplaced or something during the evaluation. Can you just explain to the jury what happened briefly?
Well, the fragment that was in that particular vial was misplaced, basically.
Non-upple? I
And
think
I'm not sure exactly
that's what I heard.
where, but
Inadvertently lost.
lost.
Okay, and that was during the time that you and Dr. Pena were looking at this material on a date within a week or two of the
Correct.
postmortem?
Correct.
Okay, and was Dr. Pena aware of the fact that it was lost
Yes.
at that time? Or do you know?
I'm not sure he was or not. I
Okay,
don't think so.
fair enough. Now, let's go with the next in order, T11A, which would be,
Non-upper F.
and this would be item number 11, and this was another item that purportedly was picked up on the stairs, and it's part of the tooth material that you testified about. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Very good. If I could have a minute. Why do they call the teeth numbers? In other words, what's the purpose for doing that, doctor?
For the numbering system?
Yes.
Well, basically, just to prevent...
Yeah, actually, that's one thing I noticed when I was at the dentist a couple of weeks ago. They were like, when they did say like this one or that one, they would go number or whatever. I was like, what the hell?
Confusion. This is the universal numbering system that's used throughout the world.
good idea.
And there's a lot of ways of numbering teeth from different countries. So we try to establish a universal system. So there's no confusion if we get a chart from Japan or China or someplace. We know exactly what they're talking about. 1, 2, 3,
You get a
4, and so forth.
grok
So, for
breakdown
example,
from
when
Rose
you
Petal.
got the
Rose Petal
pre-mortem or the
trial.
dental records from Ms. Clarkson from her regular dental professional that took care of her teeth, he identified certain teeth that had these restorations on it, and you were able to compare that and make a determination that they were the same person, correct?
Exactly, yes.
Okay. And were all the dental particles that you looked at, the evidence items, 5, 10, and 11, were they consistent with what the Ms. Clarkson's dental professional reported in their dental records?
Exactly. In
It
other
sounds
words,
crazy, yeah.
he reported in his dental record and by phone that she had porcelain jacket crowns on numbers 8 and 9, and that was consistent. Yes.
Okay. And this material was all consistent with that was found at the scene?
That's correct. The fragments were consistent.
And you also obtained X-rays, pre-death X-rays from, is it this doctor that took care of her?
That's correct.
And were you able to look at the
like
X-rays
the
to see how
person's
her
fuck.
teeth, in the view of an X-ray, were before death?
Yes.
And were you able to then take the dental X-rays that were done at the autopsy and compare them to see if there were any differences
there's
between
another level
the two?
with the
I was able to do that.
Beyonce,
and
what the
essentially,
fuck?
they were the same.
Okay, so you do that because then you can actually look at an X-ray just like a doctor might look at a bone to see if it's cracked or
This
broken.
one sounds
You
crazy.
could tell the same thing with an X-ray of teeth, can you not?
Exactly, yes.
And so that's part of the basis of your opinion, that there was no blunt force to the teeth other than the damage that we see in the photograph.
That's correct.
If I could just have a quick minute, Your Honor.
All right.
Oh shit, Bunny Bailey coming through. $5. You're right, Steve. I got to fight. About a year to live. Maybe a bit more. Got to fight with some chemo and radiation, God willing. Wow, Bonnie, that's insane. First of all, yeah, good luck. Holy hell. Yeah, that's heavy as fuck. But I mean, dude, it sounds like you're trying to do the right things to stay around for as long as possible, man. That's rough though. Yeah, I've lost family members to lung cancer before, and different types of cancer, and sadly had to see it very close with my grandpa. And yeah, my heart's with you, Bonnie, and your family. That's crazy. Thank you so much for that $5. I'm gonna get you on here. I wish that I could get you some fucking merch. I cannot get merch to Bonnie's address. Get you on here, though. Bonnie Bailey. Holy shit, Bonnie.
Thank you, Dr. Anselmo. No further questions.
Thank you. Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Very briefly, Dr. Anselmo, what is the hardest material in the human body after a porcelain crown is put on?
Well, the enamel of the tooth.
The porcelain crown, correct?
Well, once the porcelain crown is there, that
Right.
would be the hardest.
In other words, I've got bones, I've got teeth, I've got calcium, I've got fingernails.
Right.
Pretty hard stuff, but once you go to work on me and fix my teeth, which
Yep.
you probably would think need to be fixed, the hardest material in my body then would be the I'm going to call it unnatural, the porcelain material surrounding my tooth.
Right.
It's
Correct.
harder than bone.
Yes.
It's harder than the enamel of my other 32 teeth. Correct?
That's correct.
It's harder than anything else in my mouth, correct?
Correct.
All right, it's also, although it's harder, it's somewhat brittle as well. In other words, it can be smacked and cracked and shattered, correct?
That's correct.
All right, natural tooth material is more
True.
easily pulverized than, for instance, it is shattered, correct?
Well, enamel can be shattered.
Okay.
Doing what you're doing, Bunny.
The
It's
porcelain
hard
crown,
enough,
I want
man.
to concentrate on tooth number 8 and tooth number 9 of Ms.
never know.
Clarkson. Very briefly, the porcelain material that was, I think you call it a porcelain jacketed crown?
Porcelain jacket crown.
Okay. That porcelain was on both tooth number 8 and tooth number 9?
That's correct.
Okay, and underneath tooth number 8 and tooth number 9
Right.
was a smaller shaved down portion of natural dentin, correct?
That's correct.
Natural tooth material.
Tooth material.
All right, so if my fist represents the natural tooth material that, well, I guess I should do it this way, that's been shaved down, there's a jacket, a porcelain jacket that surrounds it, correct?
Correct.
Extremely hard. Yes?
Yes.
And also brittle. It'll shatter.
Yes.
Correct? So is it conceivable in your mind that, for instance, using, there he is, what Mr. Plord was asking you as a foundation about the rear ramp of the front sight of the gun. You with me?
Yes.
He showed you a picture of that. The barrel of the gun had to be beyond the porcelain crowns at the point it was discharged, based on everything you know, correct?
Right.
All right. If that barrel begins a muzzle flip and very rapidly and very powerfully flips backward, the barrel of the gun or any part of that steel could, and you would expect would, come in contact with the porcelain crown first and begin to shatter that. Is that right?
Objection, no foundations to this opinion as to ballistics.
It doesn't have to be ballistics. It's just from the facts given. You can redirect on that if you wish. The objection is overruled. You may answer.
I would think that first the porcelain would have to be hit, correct?
All right.
And then after that, natural tooth. Now,
Okay, so as the barrel of the gun, if my arm represents the barrel of the gun and my hand flat represents the tooth material or the crown
Right.
Covering the tooth material, you might expect with the muzzle flip for that gun, the barrel, to go backward, shatter the porcelain, and continue on a backward trajectory and make contact, for instance, with the natural tooth material beneath the porcelain.
well, yet I'm not an expert in ballistics, but it would seem that way.
Thanks, that's all I have.
Thank you. Redirect. Yeah, Dr. Desai, I want to just follow up just on that last point that you...
Sure.
Do you know anything about muzzle flip? Are you familiar?
No, I don't.
Okay, so any opinion you give, you're just basically sort of following along with what Mr. Jackson was saying?
Well, basically, I'm just going in logical sequence of what he was saying, what would be hit first and then second.
Do you regularly deal with cases or situations where somebody is shot in an intraoral gunshot wound where teeth are expelled? Has this ever come across your experience before?
It's the first one.
Okay. There's been some testimony in court by a ballistics expert and pathologist that has knowledge with reference to guns and intraoral wounds, and his testimony was essentially
I feel like
that
mine
the
do,
blast
too.
gun itself that was in...
Your Honor, this is an improper question.
Well,
Is counsel testifying?
he may be asking him to agree or disagree, so just if you would briefly form a question and then ask whatever you want to do to follow up.
I'll restart the question here. Let me just ask you this question. Let's assume that the blast of the gun occurred inside the mouth. Do you know whether or not the blast itself could have with the forces that are associated with that. Do you know anything about the degree or the force that's created by a gun, first of all? Inside the
I
mouth?
wouldn't feel comfortable commenting on that, no.
Do you know anything about pounds per square inch and how many pounds per square inch as far as force is created when a gun is shot inside somebody's mouth?
I do not.
Okay. Do you know whether or not a blast from a gun itself could cause any disruption to artificial tooth material or not?
Well, I mean, just from a practical point of view, it would seem to me that the gun with,
Yo, Simi.
with
Good to see you.
place would
Love that you're looking back
obviously
there.
fractured
Hope you're doing good.
anything in its way, whether that be the porcelain
Dude,
and or
absolutely.
natural tooth.
Best in the business, huh? That's what I'm always going to say.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Okay. Do you know whether or not the blast itself, without the gun physically coming in contact with crowns or crown preparations, could cause a fracture or crack of this brittle porcelain material? Do you know one way or the other?
Well, porcelain is, as I mentioned earlier, very brittle material, and it wouldn't take much for it to fracture, to crack.
And you, not being a ballistics expert, you don't know whether the blast itself, even before the recoil of the gun, could have caused damage to the teeth, correct?
No, I couldn't comment on that.
So if there were testimony from a pathologist that was experienced in the blast of the gun,
It's the form of the question. If you want to ask him a hypothetical and whether he's able to agree, disagree, or not offer an opinion, that's fine, but you're basically putting in testimony as opposed to in the form of a hypothetical question. So sustain to the form of the question.
thank you, Your Honor. I want you to assume that the gun that was fired within Miss Clarkson's mouth was fired. She was holding the gun at the time it was fired, and that the blast created in excess of 5,000 pounds per square inch. Does that type of force, could that cause some damage to her porcelain crown?
Objection, that's an improper hypothetical.
I'm not
There's
sure.
facts that are not in evidence.
What, 5,000 pounds per
Correct.
square inch?
The 5,000 pounds was the muzzle pressure, not the pressure inside her mouth.
No. Well, first of all, even if you were asked a hypothetical, no matter what the pounds per square inch were, would you be able to answer it?
No.
All right, thank you. Next
I'll leave it
question.
at that, Your Honor.
Okay,
Thank you. Nothing further. Your witness.
Recross.
When you said whatever took place, obviously you would expect it to crack or shatter the teeth, the porcelain and the tooth material.
Right.
You're talking about the steel barrel moving upward and outward at a
Right.
very fast rate, correct?
Correct.
The sides of the teeth, the side teeth. I don't know the.
The lateral incisor.
Okay, there you go. The other 30 teeth other than 8 and 9.
Bicuspids, molars.
There you go. Okay. Those showed no signs of trauma, correct?
I was a kid, I had
From
gold
any
teeth.
impact
They probably
or,
weren't real.
shattering or anything like that, correct?
That's correct.
Her bottom teeth
Caps,
showed
yeah, they're
no
caps.
signs of trauma from any shattering or impact, correct?
They were all intact.
But the top teeth,
Right.
where you would expect the muzzle to go upward and outward, that's where you saw the trauma.
That's correct.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Excuse me, redirect. Ms. Ford? Okay.
See where we're going. We done with the doctor?
Nothing further.
All right, thank you very much. Septus recall, thank you for being here. You may step down.
Thank you.
Do you have another witness?
No, but I think the key.
Oh, all right.
Oh, AZ, where the hell you been? Where we going next? An hour 30. That is a lot. I don't think I have an hour 30 in me. Consultant forensic scientist Stuart James takes the stand. But what I'm going to do is, if you guys are down for it, let's go to Kick and watch an episode of Cops to finish out the evening. I think that sounds like a good time. So let me get it over here. Hold on. Hopefully you're following on Kick, but if you're not, you can do it right here. Let me put it in a chat. Boom. About to sneeze. Hold on. About to sneeze. Oh. Whew. Yeah, let's go to kick.com to watch an episode of Cops. How about that? I don't have an hour and 30 in me for the next witness, who is a consultant and forensic scientist, Stuart James. Yeah, we'll start that up on Sunday, most likely. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and get it up here, see what Cops we got. Oh my God, AZ's been in prison. Holy shit. Well, I'm glad you're out of prison. Welcome back. My God. Holy shit. Lord. Yeah, I see a lot of fun folks. Yeah, maybe we'll try to get these shirts to Bonnie, huh? Bonnie, through FedEx. I have not tried that, and we'll give that a go. See what's up here. Dude, it's crazy. Like, and I mean, I'm sure she's seen it, like, or seen what I get back anyways. Like, it's insane. I don't understand it. I've shown her the address I'm sending it to, so, but yeah, no. Got multiple items that we need to get to Bonnie. Did we finish that, Bonnie, with your last donation? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think we did. I think we've got a wheel here. So let's go over to Kick. Let's watch an episode of Cops to finish out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12. And I'll make a wheel and we'll do a spin. How about that? How about that? And one more time, if you're not already following on the old Kick machine, you should be, because on Friday nights we get the fuck down. We have a good time. The only time you're going to see Dandy Savage. Dandy Macho Man Savage. Hell yeah, it looks like everybody's pumped up. Let's rock and roll. Let's go over there. Let's do it. AZ, are you on the Kick machine? Hopefully you're on the Kick. Went to prison without being convicted. Never knew it was possible before that. What the hell? What did you do? What the hell? Well, maybe a little too far. You'd have to tell me whatever's going on. What the fuck? I'm glad you're back. Yeah, and I think I have a Kool-Aid one for you. So, yeah, we'll figure it out. Let me get working on that for you, Bonnie. Bonnie, beautiful soul who's been here, is so fucking generous and awesome, and again, dealing with a lot right now, and you know, life's already fucking hard enough. So yeah, let's do it right now. Kick.com/publiclybuzzed. And yeah, the next time if you're not coming over there, the next time you should see me, unless I do something tomorrow night, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, Julia Cowley, the Consult Podcast, Ellen Greenberg case. It's going to be a good one. Come the fuck through. I have a professional, I have an expert, I have a retired FBI agent coming through to hang out here in the House of Buzzed. You can't believe that? Well, you're going to have to show up to see it. You didn't know I had connections to experts, did you? Well, you know, we live in crazy times out here. She's super cool, super nice on X. Hopefully everyone's following her. But yeah, well, let's go. Let's rock and roll.